Hey, Sordax here, and today we're doing another deck profile. This time we're focusing on another clan that's not been getting much support as well, but I think with upcoming strides, this clan can do a pretty big number on it. It's Megacolony, and today we're doing the focus on the Megacolony Legion, the Machining Tarantula Mark II and Machining Hornet Mark II. With that being said, let's get started with it. So for our starting Vanguard, we run Megacolony Battler C. In my opinion, it's one of the better starters than I think it was the Honeybee one. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, but it was a bee. Yeah, but Megacolony Battler C does Counterblast 1, put in Soul. When this unit boosts a Megacolony unit and the attack hits the Vanguard, you can pay the cost. And you can basically stun one of your opponent's rear guard, which is what Megacolony do. They stun. So stunning the rear guard is potentially making your opponent lose attacking or boosting units, which is always good. Less attack or less power, so you can guard your opponent's attacks with. For grade 3s, we run 4 Machining Tarantula Mark II. Obviously, this is a Legion, so you run 4 of him. And his ability is you counterblast 1 when you drive check a card that has the same name as a unit on your Vanguard circle. If this unit is in Legion, you may pay the cost. If you do, you can stun all of your opponent's Vanguard. So basically, when this unit is in Legion and you drive check either Tarantula Mark II or Hornet Mark II, you pay the cost with counterblast 1 and you basically stun all of your opponent's Vanguard. So that means if they're in Legion, you stun both the Legion and their mate, which is good because if your opponent wants to attack again, they would basically have to re-ride their Vanguard, making them lose a card from their hand. And yeah, and this also goes well when you stun Stride units. When Stride is coming out, the trial is actually coming out next Friday, so it's pretty soon. But yeah, stunning your opponent's Vanguard and they want to stride. If they try to stride a stun Vanguard, they're basically striding onto a rested unit, because I believe Unrivaled said that striding doesn't count as riding, so they don't stand when you stride. So if your opponent wants to stride, they basically are going to actually have to re-ride their Vanguard. Then to pay the stride cost, they have to ditch a card or more to stride on top of it. So basically, doing that, they're already losing 2 cards just to stride, and yeah. And his second ability is Soul Blast 2 cards with Machining in its name, and you can stun one of your opponent's rear guard. So basically, just stun. That's all. This deck, Megacolony, is all about stunning and pissing off your opponent, which this deck does a lot when I play against my friends. Finally, last pair of grade 3s, we run 4 Unrivaled Blade Rogue Cyclomatooth, one of the best break rides, in my opinion. Yep, so his ability is Limit Break 4. When a Megacolony unit rides this unit, choose your Vanguard. That unit gets plus 10k. Rest all your opponent's units, and they are stunned. Yeah, so obviously he's really good because you're basically stunning your opponent's whole field, which is gonna make them freak out and say, oh man, I'm going to either have to not do anything to save up cards in my hand, or I'm going to actually have to re-ride my Vanguard and then retire my stun units in order to get some boosting and attacking in. So yeah, this is basically forces your opponent to waste cards from their hand and from their field in order to get back a full field. And then his second ability is during your turn, if all your opponent's Vanguards and Rearguards are rested, it gets plus 2k. So basically, your opponent's field is rested. It's swinging in for 13 plus whatever you have boosts behind it. And yeah, and ideally, you want to break ride. Blah. Yep. For grade 2s, we run 4 Machining Hornet Mark II. He's the mate, so obviously you want to run 4 of him. And his ability is actually very similar to an older Megacolony card. Machining Palpion. Yeah, it's a butterfly if you want to look it up. But yeah, so basically his ability is when this unit is placed on a rearguard circle, if your Vanguard is in Legion, you can stun one of your opponent's rearguard. So like Machining Palpion, call to rearguard, and if your Vanguard's in Legion, you can stun one of your opponent's rearguards so they can't stand next turn. And yeah, it's only a 1 turn thing, so once it's placed, and that's it. And nothing much else except it's a 9k attacker, which is the norm for any other grade 2s. And yep. Next we run 4 Machining Tarantulas, the first one. It's probably like, this card is probably like a staple in this kind of deck. Because his ability is good on hit, so his ability is Counterblast 1 with Machining in his card name, so it's a special Counterblast. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, if you have a Megacolony Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, stun one of your opponent's rearguard. So yeah, again, it's just a lot of stunning, and with another unit, with a grade 1 boosting unit, which I'll get to later, you can actually stun 2 units for just one single Counterblast, which we'll get to soon. But before that, we run for our last last couple cards for grade 2s. We run 4 Machining Red Soldier. They are just be quick about it, they are the 12k beater. So they get 3k when you have a Machining Vanguard when it attacks. So it'll be 3k it'll be swinging for 12 most of the time. Unless you ride Cyclomatooth, since he's not Machining unit, he doesn't get the 3k. So yeah, just a heads up. For grade 1s, we run 4 Machining Black Soldier. So this is the 10k beater when there's machining, and yeah, it'll only be 7k if you have Cyclomatooth out as a Vanguard circle, and nothing much else to say about them. Next, we run 3 Machining Locust. This is the tech card where you can drop 1 and draw 1, but in order to drop 1 and draw 1, is when this unit is placed on the rearguard circle. If you have a Megacolony Vanguard, which you should, and all your opponent's units are rested, then you can do the drop 1, draw 1. So always keep that in mind, that your opponent's field has to be rested, because I sometimes make that mistake where I want to do this ability, but I couldn't, because in my opponent's side there's always like 1 card that's still standing. So yeah, but when it does happen, you basically cycle cards out of your hand, so discard cards you don't need, and hopefully draw into cards that you do want. Next is the card that goes well, in my opinion, with Machining Tarantula is Machining Caucasus. Is that how you say it? This beetle. So his ability is when he boosts a unit that the attack hits, if it's a Megacolony with Machining in its card name, you can choose one of your opponent's rearguard and stun it. So basically, pair it up with Machining Tarantula, these two. You can basically stun up to 2 cards, 2 rearguards, with just Machining Tarantula's 1 counterblast, a special counterblast. Yeah. So this obviously those 2 cards together puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, because either they want to guard it and waste cards in their hands, or take the hit to save cards in their hand, but potentially lose two units to either attack or boost with. So yeah, that's about it with these cards. And finally, Sentinels, you run 2 Perfect Guards and 2 Quintet Wall. This is my usual lineup for Sentinels. 2 Quintet Walls because this deck is kind of counterblast heavy, so I don't want to waste any more counterblasts with a whole lot of Quintet Walls. And 2, Quintet Wall has Machining in its name, so that's good for the Soul Blasting machine cards and special counterblasts for Machining Tarantula. And 2 Perfect Guards, because Perfect Guards are Perfect Guards. We need Perfect Guards for for absolute protection from everything and anything. And yeah, and they don't have machining as card name, so be wary of that, so you can't use it for special counter blasts or soul blasts. And finally, for triggers, you run 8 crits, because crits are going to crit. Crit is always fun. 4 draws to get cards in your hand, and this is potentially card fodder. You can basically use this Machining Locust's ability to ditch these cards and hopefully draw into better cards. And finally, 4 heal, because heals are going to heal. And yep, that is basically it for this deck profile. Well, machining. Oh man, burp. So yeah, Megacolony, I believe it's going to do pretty well in the future when Stride comes out, because again, the whole stunning the Vanguard and forcing your opponent to, if they want to Stride, going to have to re-ride a new Vanguard and then waste cards to Stride again. And yeah, hopefully Megacolony gets some more support in the future, because Megacolony is honestly a really fun deck to play with, and a really fun deck to piss your friends off with. And yep, that's it for this deck profile. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.